Um, on behalf of the Toppan Ecquaria team, I really like to extend a warm welcome to you. So my colleague has introduced me. My name is Celine. I Vice President for Business Development. This is about 2 weeks ago. I was in Riyadh, capital city of Saudi Arabia. So it's there for a business trip with my colleagues. And on the last day of the business trip, since the flight was late in the night, we decided to go watch a movie. And no prize for guessing what the movie that we have chosen. So it was Top Gun, Maverick. So it was a sequel to the first movie that was first screened in 1986. So Tom Cruise was a young and handsome man when I watched that movie. So kind of give you an indication of my ages. Today he's a little bit more matured, but I believe the ladies will still agree that he's still handsome nonetheless. It's been the box office has showed that the movie is a great success, and I think it has really done a very good job with this second movie. Although there's a big time gap between the first one and this second one, they have put in a lot of hard work, with a lot of planning to make sure that the second one turned out very well. So similarly for us, so it has been a long time gap between the last physical seminar we had and this one. We use a whole regular physical seminars, like many other companies, but and of course because of the pandemic we had to stop it, and so it's really a pleasure to be able to have welcome our customers back to our first seminar after such a long time. But during this break, like this last 2.5 years or so, we have also been hard at work. And under the Toppan umbrella, we have more resources, we have bigger network. So we actually invested in some of the new capabilities. And then we started on some new initiatives. My team and I, we're really happy to share with you some of these new developments today. So I hope the contents of this seminar will be useful, will be relevant to you, that you get real value out of the seminar. So for the rest of my presentation, I just want to cover briefly these 3 points and give you some introduction to Toppan. For those of you who may not be so familiar with us, after that I want to cover some new capabilities and projects that we have been working on in the past 2.5 years, and let's round it off with some updates on our digital government offering, which my colleagues later will cover in more detail. So let's start with a first introduction to Toppan. But before we go into that, it's good to go back into year 1998 when Ecquaria Technologies was first founded. So we started off as Ecquaria Technologies by 4 of these colleagues from National Computer Board, NCB. Okay. So NCB was the predecessor of IDA, and IDA now have become GovTech. So when they were in NCB, they did projects, IT projects for the government. So when they came out to start Ecquaria Technologies, they focused on the public sector because they know the government people, they know the government processes. Of course, that's the way they think that they wanted the company to go. And that's how we grew over the years. And then some industry players started to take notice of what we have done, the good work that we have done, and started talking to us. And one of the companies that started to talk to us is actually Toppan. The conversations grew a bit serious in around 2019. And we found that the business between the both, the synergy between both is really good. So the businesses they are in, we are not in. We are businesses we are in, they are not in. and the management was very open to us, the way we run our business. They are very open to us, keeping our management, keeping our staff intact, our facilities, so that we can continue to fulfill our contractual obligations to our customers. So we decided that in year 2020 to join the Toppan family and became Toppan Ecquaria. So that's how we came about. So now you see on our website or our name card, you see the name Toppan Ecquaria. So they decided to keep the Ecquaria name because you know that we have a certain reputation in digital government. So who is Toppan? I think the best way to introduce Toppan to you is through a little video.
Toppan's journey began in 1900 using cutting-edge printing techniques. Driving the evolution of advanced technologies, we have expanded and branched out into diverse fields reaching far beyond printing. Becoming a $13 billion enterprise with more than 50,000 employees, serving customers on every continent. With best-in-class solutions across numerous markets. Our expertise in content, marketing, security, and business processes drives information and communications. We offer outstanding design, function, and quality for consumer living and industry. And our leading-edge technologies play essential roles in the electronics sector. Toppan's future will be underpinned by a focus on digital transformation and sustainability. Driving change across business and society to help shape a sustainable world. Our goal is to break through to create new value for every society. Embracing infinite challenges to play a leading role, contributing to a fulfilling life for everyone.
Okay, so Toppan was first founded in 1900, so over 100 over years ago. I think also didn't know about it when I first got to know them. So some of you may know them as Toppan as a printing company. Yes, that's how Toppan was first started. So being a Japanese company, so they focused on printing. But since it has since grown and has now gone to a $13 billion US dollars company a year, and is listed on the Tokyo Stock Exchange. So now it has expanded into many different areas. It does more than printing now. It does translation. It does security business. We will cover more about that. It does IoT, semiconductor, robotics. So it now does cover many different areas. So there are over 50,000 employees worldwide. There's also many companies. We are one of them, and the number of companies ever increasing because it's always on the lookout for new companies. And it spends a lot of money in R&D. And I think this is a good opportunity to actually move on to the next part of the presentation, which I will share with you some of our new capabilities and the projects that we have been implementing. So Toppan Ecquaria is part of Toppan security business. So in Toppan security business are made up of these four main areas. The first area is on actually digital government solutions, which actually what Toppan acquire us for. So later my colleagues will share more on our capabilities in this area. The next area is actually in government identity. We now have the capability to print identity documents, be it passports, ID cards, driver license, with a lot of anti-forgery features on it. So these anti-forgery features could be holograms, could be even some magnetic ink. Okay, it's actually quite interesting. On the magnetic ink, if you put a magnet under the magnetic ink, you can actually see some image appearing. And this kind of features is really hard to watch. We can also even supply printers for like passports. Some of these printers are not your normal jet printer. It actually costs like $1 million a piece. So we are really very sophisticated, highly secure kind of printers. We could also supply payment cards. So some banks have actually approached us to supply them with credit cards for the customers, who can actually embed chip on it to actually make them smart cards as well. The last area is actually on security solutions. This is the part that where I spoke about earlier, where we're actually doing a lot of investment, and I'd like to expand a bit more on that. So one of the areas we went into was actually computer vision. And one of the outcomes of this was actually part of the NDI face biometric project for GovTech. And objective of this project was to develop a system to be able to verify a person using a multitude of devices. It could be a mobile phone, it could be a tablet, it could be a PC, laptop. As long as you have a 1 megapixel or better webcam, you can do it. You don't need any special other hardware or technology. So with this feature, you can, of course, recognize and identify the person in front of the device. And secondly, most importantly, be able to verify that the person is real. So we term it more face verification rather than face recognition. So with the second capability of verifying a person is real, we can actually open up a lot of new use cases. So DBS enhanced its mobile app to allow its customers to open up a bank account online. And this brings a lot of convenience. So we can do this 24/7, anytime, anywhere. You do not need to go down to the bank branch to open up an account anymore. OCBC also jumped on board the bandwagon. They put this capability into their ATM. They allow their customers to be able to check their bank account balance without even taking out their ATM card. Then we continue to invest in our computer vision capabilities, and you find that we can actually use it for access control. One of our customers overseas actually approached us and said that we have a problem. Okay, we have many secure compounds, and we need to authorize. We need to check whether the people entering the compounds are authorized or not. And a lot of these people, they would drive in. And the current process is that they will need to get off the vehicle at the guardhouse and tap their card to make sure that they are authorized, and then before they are allowed in. So in the morning, in the evening, there will be massive traffic jam. So they can you do better? Can you authenticate them while they are in the vehicle? And that's exactly what we did. So let me just show you a short video on this. You can see a vehicle coming in. Then we can actually start doing the facial recognition in real time. So you can detect the face, we draw a green square around it, and then we can also show the percentage of recognition. So just by doing this, we have already cut down a lot of the time in getting in and out of the secure compound. This video was actually taken when the sun is bright out there, but this may not be the case all the time. So when it rains, the windows will be up, so there'll be raindrops, there'll be glare, there'll be interference. So it's actually not too straightforward. Even at night, even more challenging in low visibility conditions. So you may not be able to see the face as well. So you need really good cameras in order to do this. So I think we actually fine-tune the face recognition engine in order to be able to do facial recognition in all these various scenarios. So the other area that we also invested in is in the automated border clearance system. You go to T3, you already can have access to some of the automated gates. So you take out your passport, you scan your passport, and then they will scan your face before they will allow you to go through. But we think we can do better than that. Okay, we really think that we can have a more frictionless kind of user experience. So we build the system such that you do not even need to take out your passport. You can walk up to the gate, you verify your face, verify your iris, and then from your biometric data that we have, we can determine whether you are allowed to leave the country or not. And in addition to that, okay, so that's a contactless individual clearance without passport. In addition to that, we also do self-assisted group clearance. Now, if you say husband and wife with 2 young kids, so it's kind of challenging to do the self-assisted lanes, right? So we think we can also do this for this kind of family. So we expanded the capabilities of our gates to handle that as well, so that parents with young kids can also self-service to go through the borders. We actually have demos set up. If you're interested in this, we'll welcome you to contact us. So besides these new capabilities, we are also hard at work implementing projects. So work doesn't stop during the pandemic. So one of the systems we launched together with MOH, Ministry of Health, was the HELP system, the healthcare licensing application licensing portal. Why the purpose behind this was to actually for any businesses who want to provide medical healthcare services to be licensed. You a GP, or you are a medical clinic, you definitely need a healthcare license, and you can actually come to the help portal to apply for these different licenses. But there are many different kind of healthcare services, so more than at least like around 28. Then each of these healthcare services may be different from each other. So if you're running a medical lab, it's going to be different from running like an ambulance suite or ambulance versus maybe running a telemedicine service. So the business logic behind this can be also quite complex. And that's where our architects actually decided to build it using micro services. But because each of these healthcare services may be different, okay, the business logic behind it may be different, the data you collect may be different. So we set right from the start to make sure that these microservices for these different services are decoupled. They're not just decoupled at the communication level, but decoupled also at the data level. So each microservice has its own set of database. In this way, they truly have autonomy at the data level. So if there's any change in the database in any of the microservices, it would not affect the next set of microservices. And we also will realize at the start of the project that one end user transaction actually results in a chain of microservices. So you need a chain of microservices to support just one end user transaction. And if any of this microservice is slow in the response time or does not respond, it will affect the whole transaction, and your user experience for that will suffer. So our architect has put in place event-driven architecture so that the communication between the microservices is via the event bus. So you just have to put a message into the event bus, and then you can respond back to the user. So there's there are no non-blocking calls inside. Rather, there's no blocking calls inside the whole chain of communication of microservices. And therefore, that definitely dramatically improve the response time for the end users. So the other project that we also worked on was on intellectual property management, IP management. This system called the IPOS Digital Hub. This system allows you to people search for all the different intellectual property IP, your patents, your trademarks, your design. You can also register for one. So similarly, we also put design the system using microservices architecture. The business logic behind it is actually even more complex than the previous MOH system. But the other problem that we also face for this project is the size of the data. We're talking about more than 200,000 applications annually. The data size is huge. We have more than 75 terabyte of documents. So our team need to actually fine tune the queries very well in order to be able to have acceptable response time for our users. So some of our local projects we've been working on. We also have overseas projects during this time as well. I mentioned that the other day, just now, that I was in Saudi, and that was because we were engaged by the Saudi authority to implement a system for them. So, just in case you don't know, you think that Saudi is all desert, it's not the case. So they do have greenery there. It's very hot now over there, maybe 40 over degrees. Sometimes they claim they had hit 50, 60. Yeah. But during the winter, it's really very nice space. So one of the things that they want to do, Saudi want to do, is to be the top destinations for visitors, and they want to attract people, well, like people like you, to go. And they have started on a lot of digitalization projects because of that. And one of them was to have a Saudi ID, a smart ID for every visitor. And that's exactly what we did. So the idea is that you have a single ID password, very much like SingPass, to be able to access all the Saudi travel-related websites or the authority, also for the partners. So we make it very easy for visitors to access all the travel information, travel services. And if a visitor is interested in some of the events in Saudi, or some of the visit some of the places of interest, they also want to buy tickets, and that's where Smart Pass come into place. And that's also part of the system we built for them. And you can buy online tickets, and they will send a Smart Pass, or actually a QR code to the visitor. And then when he goes down into Saudi, he can actually present this Smart Pass to gain entry into the place or the event. Just last week, we have been informed by the Fijian government. They have selected us as also the partner to supply a system for them. I'm very happy to announce that today. They wanted us to actually put a single portal for the application of company registration and construction related licenses and permits. Well, some of you may not know, actually Fiji is about 10 hours flight from here. It's actually an island nation out in the Pacific with 333 islands. So there's a lot of nice outdoors like this for you to experience. I think I'm already very envious of my colleagues who are going there to enjoy the sun, sand, and the sea. And that's not just that's just only the beginning. So the Fijian government knows that digitalization is important to move their country forward. They want to work with us to use our common platform that we'll be putting in for them to build more digital services. So we'll be training them, we'll be empowering them to do so. Okay, so those are some of the new capabilities we have and some of the projects that we've been doing. Next a final section, I want to touch on a bit about our digital government offerings. And these are the 4 areas I will run through. So first, Agile-in-Practice. We all know that Agile is like the default methodology that the government has adopted. So similar for us, that's what we are doing as well. So we have people trained in Agile methodology. Scrum Masters or developers. We have also brought in the Agile experts from outside to bolster our capability in this area as well. So through our Agile implementation project experience, so we have to refine the way that we do Agile, and we currently call Agile 2. So you see our T-shirt says Agile 2. And our colleague Hale later will share more about this way of implementing projects. So the next area is about digital government integration. We will implement a system, most likely you will have to integrate with one or more of these systems. And that's what we see. We see a lot of that in the implementation for our customers. Of course, the question we want to ask is how can we integrate this seamlessly? And since we are doing so many of these integration for our customers, so we decided that we'll just build a product around it. And we call it the Ecquaria Integration Center, EIC for short. You'll be pleased to know that we actually have already have more than 30 such deployments across agency, doing various types of integration into various of these systems. So later on, my colleague from the product department, so will come up and share more about EIC. Next area is on cloud native. So Singapore has decided that we want to move 70-80% systems onto GCC. And we have already helped a lot of the customers to do so. So it's important to consider then how you can actually leverage the cloud. And then the way to do it, we believe, is to do it the cloud native way. So that you can have zero downtime, so you can have faster project rollout, and then you can be highly scalable. But how do you do then cloud native? Okay, so my colleague Take One will come up later to share with you more on this topic. And the final topic we'd like to cover is on co-development. So we are also one of the awarded partners as part of the Agile Co-Development bulk tender 19024. So if you are interested to implement projects using your own development resource, and you need more resources from us to do co-development with you, you can actually approach us. You can offer a variety of roles, Scrum Master, full stack, the way to UI designer, to supplement your team in project implementation. Okay, so I hope now you have a better understanding of who Toppan is and what Toppan Ecquaria actually can offer. Some with all these areas in the security business. So again, if you think that we can be of assistance to you, feel free to reach out to any of us here today. So I'll be handing over the rest of the seminar to our three speakers. And the session after that will be by Kale. So he will share with you our experience on Agile. Kale, please.